I'm your host with the most, Welcome 23. You're joining me for My First Two Loves, Chapter 34, The Choice. Before homecoming, I hadn't watched a football game in years. Sure, I cheered at every school football game since junior high, but being on the sidelines, always at the ready to liven the mood, it's not the same as being at the game. So now, no longer a cheerleader, I sat in the bleachers, taking it all in. The smell of the grilled hot dogs from the concession stands, the couples laughing together in the cool air, the little sister sneaking out and testing the limits of their father's patience. How weird is it being normal again? Did Dad say you could come to the game? I thought you had homework. He never said I couldn't. Besides... She pointed to the camera looped around her neck. It looked suspiciously like the one I'd found in the attic. I'm here to do my photography assignment, which, now that you're a free agent and all, I was hoping you could do for me. Seriously? Would it kill you to do your own homework? It might. I could be deathly allergic. Better not risk it. No. Emma, I'm a free spirit. I go wherever the wind blows me. And right now it's sending me under the bleachers to hang out with my friends. The last time you hung out with your friends, we got arrested. If that happens again, Dad's gonna surgically implant his foot in our asses. Please. It's just a few pictures, plus it'll give you an excuse to creep on a certain quarterback. I watched Noah crouch in the middle of the huddle, planning the next play. He glanced up into the bleachers and his eyes met mine. He should wear a football if he's gonna play quarterback then. After Mom died, the thought of capturing a time without her in it had hurt, and I had refocused my efforts on cheerleading. But with pom-pom squarely in my past, maybe it was time to find that passion again. Give me the camera before I change my mind. Yes, I owe you one. She shoved the camera into my arms and disappeared into the crowd. I brought the viewfinder to my eye. A wave of calm crashed over me as I took in the field from behind the lens. Eastridge hiked the ball, Noah dropped back to survey the options. The other team defense rushed him, and he drew back his arm to make the throw as they closed in. Come on, Noah, you got this. I followed his path with the camera snapping a shot after shot as he dodged his opponents and sent the ball flying downhill. Take that. And into the end zone. The shutter clicked just as the ball touched the receiver's gloves. What an amazing throw under the pressure by Noah! And I didn't miss a frame. I took a few pictures of Noah jogging towards the bench as the other team prepared to go on the offensive. The visitors hiked the ball, the quarterback turned to make the handoff, when an Eastridge defender swooped in to intercept the pass. Another great shot. Mac's definitely going to get an A on this. Noah stood to return to the field, but Coach waved him off and signaled the announcer. Looks like Coach is subbing in his backup quarterback for the final quarter. Let's hope that's not a mistake. Finally. This is Mason's big moment. Through the lens, I saw Noah gesture at Mason. As his body language changed, I froze. They wouldn't go at it here, would they? Getting benched has to hurt, but we're winning. I zoomed in for a closer look. Mason pointed to the field as Noah whipped out a playbook, and the two of them huddled over it together. Looks like the Eastridge quarterbacks have something up their sleeves. Coach has called a timeout while they review the plays. I couldn't believe it. After all the tension, the confrontation, the not-so-subtle warnings, they were working together? I snapped a picture of the two of them, poring over the book, united against a common enemy. And then it was game on. Soon, there was only a few seconds left on the clock. It's now or never, Mason. I scanned the sea of jerseys for his number, spotting him just as he bolted past the line of scrimmage and made a beeline for the end zone. Wait for it. My timing was perfect. I managed to capture him in midair as he leapt over the other team's defense and scored. Touchdown. And that's the game. It looks like Eastridge may have two elite quarterback prospects on their team this year. You can say that again. The crowd went wild, but a man to my right just scribbled furiously in his notes, and was the official-looking sports crest stamped on his clipboard. The question is, which one has the higher ceiling? Both are pretty promising, just you can only have one quarterback on the field at a time. He brushed by me, and I shook off his commentary before rushing down to the field to find Mason and Noah. Great game, guys. That last play was incredible. As much as I hate to say it, taking home this win was definitely a joint effort. Mason extended his hand to Noah, who accepted the gesture and shook it. Just so long as you know it. I could hardly believe it. Maybe their feud was finally over. Give it 5 minutes. I gotta shower, get changed, but you should come find me later, Emma. I got something special planned. Eyes flashed at Mason, who tensed at the private invitation, but didn't say a word. Right. Yeah, now you made it awkward. Noah jogged off, leaving Mason and me alone in the awkward silence. He cleared his throat. Emma, I was hoping we could hang out too. There's something I want to ask you. Properly, this time. A knot grew in the pit of my stomach. This was not happening! Mason must have seen the worry on my face, because he shot me a smile as he started for the locker room. Relax, Noah and I are big boys. You make your choice, and we'll learn the deal. As he walked off, my head spun, with homecoming just a day away. It was obvious they both wanted to ask me to the dance. But what wasn't obvious was who I wanted to pick. Yeah, I'll explain this at the end of the video. There was just something about Noah that I couldn't get enough of. So, as the stands cleared and the fans packed up to head home, I made my way to the parking lot to wait for my guy. My guy, my guy. Mason stood near his car, chatting with a few teammates, while Noah leaned against his bike alone. Mason watched with sad eyes as I walked past him. Sorry, broski. But Noah smiled, rising to meet me. Hey there. He towered over me, standing close enough to warm me with his spotty heat. I imagined running my fingers across his muscles of his chest, slipping my hands around the nape of his neck as he leaned in. You know, I had a whole thing planned for this next part. I wanted to ask you in style. For you to go all out, you must really think I'm special. Noah smiled a rare, genuine grin as he handed me a motorcycle helmet. You have no idea. Come on, I'm starving, and I can't do a good surprise on an empty stomach. Oh, diamond choice to go get something to eat. What a surprise. The suspense is killing me. Let's roll. Sweet. Hold on tight. Autobots, roll out. Soon we arrived at a neighborhood restaurant. Noah, you've grown so tall. Yeah, it's been a while, Miss Evans. Almost immediately after we sat down, the waitress arrived with his usual order, a spread big enough for 2. I'm guessing you come here often. Sorta. My mom used to bring me and my sister here when we were younger. He pointed to an area near the kitchen. If you look over there, you can still see where the owner measured my height on that door frame. I looked around at the walls, tables, chairs, and wondered what other memories this restaurant held for him. I had no idea this place was so personal to you. Noah rested his forearms on the table and reached over to stroke the back of my hand with his thumb, his face thoughtful. I don't share a lot. It's easier to hide the rumors and let most people think they know me. But you... I don't want to hide from you. I want you to know me, the real me. I want to know you too. Starting with... your family. We haven't talked much about your younger sister. She's gotta be nicer than Elijah, right? They're like night and day. My mom works a lot, so it's usually just me and Hazel at home. She can be a handful, but I wouldn't trade her for the world. There's no voice that fills me with both love and exasperation like hers. Tell me about it. One second I'm ready to strangle Mac, and the next I'm getting arrested with her. It's a complicated relationship. She must have missed you while you were away. Well, you know, you were... In juvie, you don't have to tiptoe around it. It was hard. Hazel wrote me a letter every day. I promised myself when I got out I'd bring her back here for dinner. Just the two of us. Which reminds me. Noah picked up his fork, sparing a bite before holding it to my lips. Taste this. It smelled incredible, full of unique spices and seasonings. I took a bite, closing my eyes and letting the flavors wash over my tongue. When I opened them, Noah's eyes met mine with a hunger that had nothing to do with the food. By the way, we don't even know what we're eating. Want some too? If you don't mind. I leaned across the table and pressed a kiss to his lips, suddenly thankful he'd chosen a table a distance from the other patrons. He slid a hand behind my head, the pads of his thumbs brushing my cheek as his tongue grazed my bottom lip. See what I mean? Delicious. As I settled back into my chair, my foot brushed his book bag, sitting perched against the legs of the table. I smirked. So, what's the surprise you were talking about earlier? I'm starting to think it was all just a ruse to get me to go out with you. He laughed before he relented. His hand reached for his book bag, then rifling around the inside compartment. I was gonna wait until after dinner, but if you insist. He slipped a piece of paper out of a folder and handed it to me. I took it eagerly before turning it over, confused. We were assigned a take-home test in ancient history. I was hoping you could look it over before I turned it in. Oh, sure. I whipped out a pencil and started with the top, my mind only barely registering his answers as I thought over the progress the last few weeks. Had I misread things somehow? Was he not going to ask me to homecoming after all? As I marked the last question wrong, I realized we had bigger problems. Every single answer was incorrect. Noah? I don't know how to tell you this, but all these answers are wrong. You don't say. Here, see for yourself. I held the paper out for him, and Noah slipped it from my fingers before studying my markings with an amused face. We went over this stuff until you knew it backwards and forwards. What happened? I think I see the problem. He turned the test around to face me, but when I reached for it, he shook his head, holding it at a distance. My tutor's practically the smartest girl in school, but sometimes she has trouble seeing the big picture. I looked at the page again, this time focusing on the test overall. The answer spells homecoming? As cheesy as it might be to say out loud, I'm really falling for you, Emma. And I want to see where this thing takes us. Will you come to homecoming with me? This was it! Formal recognition! And all of this was an elaborate daydream. I liked him, he liked me, and finally we were about to take the next step in exploring those feelings. So for once, I shut my brain off and let my heart do the talking. I'd love to. You had to shut off your brain to just go, I'd love to? What? What does your brain have to do with anything? This is what's wrong. People overthink things too damn much. Seriously. There's nothing wrong with the guy. It's the reason why I chose him. Speaking of which, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down description below, links to social media, Discord, and a few links to support me and my content. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into why I chose Noah. So, Mason's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a blah, 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 blah. They tried to basically add a lot of feelings after the fact. And this is where a lot of, like, apps and shit go wrong. Is they tried to add a lot of feelings to after the fact with Mason. Trying to make us feel for him, trying to make us like him, you know, the whole 9 yards, the whole jargon, okay? Which, no. If you would have built the feelings and the friendship and everything else before the whole issue at hand, which was Ava, would have been fine with that. Maybe it would have been a little bit more swayed, a little bit more, okay, I understand this. You know, we went away for a summer, you went for Ava, but you burned Ava. You could have said no. You could have honestly said no. Like, remember, Mason had a whole thing planned. He was going to ask us and the whole 9 yards, and then for whatever reason, he went with Ava. And then he dropped Ava, causing our friendship to become disheartened and all these other issues. And the whole 9 yards is I get it. Sometimes people make really stupid decisions, but that was probably one of the most asinine one I could think of. Long story short, Noah hasn't done us wrong. Noah has been there every step of the way for us. Yes, he's a little closed off. Nothing wrong with that. I'm the same way. But, you know, for those that really matter to you, you typically will open yourself up. And he's doing that. He's making an effort. And again, he hasn't wronged us. He hasn't wronged anyone, really. And all they've tried to do in this book is try and give us a, oh my god, he went to juvie, we don't know what for, he could have killed a man. And it's just, it's trivial. It's trivial. Because if you judge everybody based on their past, it's, you know, like the Mason thing, it was in the moment. Noah's thing was in the past. You gotta give someone a chance. And this isn't, you know, Noah's second chance. This is his first chance. Mason, technically this is his second chance, you know, so yeah, that's why I picked Noah. Thanks for watching. Catch y'all later. I'm sure that could be more elaborate, but I digress. Peace out.